All right, we've got the preview 2023, and it's good. Nova, Super Scroll, changes to war, release methods, teal war orbs, so many things. And the reception of this has been overall favorable. 87% of people thought that the preview with 23 was cool, and 13% is meh. It's fine. I have like one small concern with it, which we're going to go over it, but it may not be a concern. So let's get into it. First of all, everything here is subject to change. And I just really like the way that they talk about the last year. It's almost surreal experience being on the other side of the finale of the Apocalypse Saga. The team has been focused on this new journey for well over a year, and I learned a lot along the way. Team is has read over a lot of player feedback and used to help guide the game and take shape in 2023 and beyond. We'll see. The first thing, we want to experiment with existing game modes, Alliance War and Cosmic Crucible. So they're going to do, I believe, it looks like it's going to be room bonuses, which I have some issues with. Cosmic Crucible, they're going to make a 32-man. Iterating on game modes like Raid to bring new experiences with all the forthcoming updates and improvements. We're listening to your feedback along the way to make further requirements. Secondly, they're going to do quality of life improvements. We have a long list of requests. We're carving out more production time this year to address your pain points in Squat Bush. And the main one that I saw there was that the Claim All button is going to have a confirmation now. And then lastly, third, we're investing even more into the development official website, MarvelStrikeForce.com. And the main thing I saw there is there's going to be a way of importing save squads. So you can, like, someone can create a master list for like a blitz, optimal blitz rotation, and you can import it and it just goes right into your game, because the save squad list is super clunky, and also it will help with like your alliance. So let's get into the next legendary character, and I like this too. The next legendary event is going to be Nova. This is the first new character we're announcing, along with the team trait Nowhere. I probably make a few guesses about the next Nowhere characters that'll be announced, and a few of these guesses would like me to correct. One of the piece feedback from the community, and this is one of my favorite paragraphs here, is that they enjoyed the overall experience of the Scourges immensely. I did, as they provided a satisfying challenge while offering customization events. And I feel like a lot of people were able to participate and unlock the legendary characters the first time around, like with Morgan Le Fay and so on and so on, where in the past, you know, I remember saying, you know, there's no shame in getting the legendary character the second time around, but people were actually able to unlock and use these legendary characters the first time around. More of the community is able to participate in the Scourge events, and I thought it was an overall good experience. However, and we're going to get into, and they acknowledged the part that a lot of people didn't like, including myself. We also heard the feedback during the year-long journey towards Apocalypse. Players felt they lost some agency in the characters and teams they wanted to invest their resources. Yeah, I had to upgrade Scarlet Witch and Phantom X, and everybody's upgrading the same teams, and we don't have a lot of agency. Everything's kind of cookie cutter, and they acknowledge that. So what do they say? And actually, it's kind of interesting. They acknowledge cookie cutters here, but they're going to talk about raids a little bit later and how they're actually going to push forward cookie cutter teams, which is kind of interesting that they say here, we don't want that, but later they kind of do. And when it comes to raids, with that in mind, in 2023, you see return of the Scourge type event with some interesting new twists to the design and the revamped rewards. They'll be similar to the traditional legacy events, in that they are treated as standalone encounters and won't all chain into requirements for additional future content, as with Apocalypse Saga. Great. They'll be part of a grander story being told going on into next year, but not all characters released along the way will be required for their narrative. So it looks like they're moving away from the year-long Apocalypse event, but they are going to continue releasing legendary characters with a Scourge style event. I think that's fantastic. With the incredible power possessed by Nova, including access to Nova Force, he will be the second character ever after Red Hulk to wield an impressive battlefield effect. And so I have to go back and look at the Red Hulk release when they talked about battlefield effects. I believe that there only can be one battlefield effect applying to each team at a time. But this doesn't state if Nova is going to like buff your team. And so we'll have to see how it plays. Once again, highly curious hear your speculation on what the battle effect can do. And so this is kind of good. It doesn't mention any stars or gear or level cap, and I don't know that there will be or at all. All it mentions is that you'll have to be at player level 50 and have at least 5 characters in the following combination of the following: Masters of Evil, X Factor, and Quicksilver. So I think a lot of people will have, the 4 members of the X Factor and Ultron. So that's good, right? I feel like that's good. That seems good. And if it's a Scourge type an event, then then probably some combination of these will be more optimal than the others, just like it was in the other Scourge events. All right, Dark Dimension 6. And so I think this is great. It's coming back. While there was a lot of fun with Scourges and Sagas last year, community expressed a longing for the annual excitement around the adventure that is Dark Dimension. We also missed was the ability to have more agency with team compositions, which leads to more personal customization and riveting theory crafting. We hear you and are currently in production on the 6th installment of the popular game mode. And so one of the defining associations with the Dark Dimension has been the marquee reward of unlocking an infamous villain in the Marvel Universe. In keeping that with trend, we're delighted to announce that the marquee reward for Dark Dimension 6 will be none other than the Enhanced Skrull Warrior Super Skrull, which I think is going to be an important character going forward. And if you look at the model here, they said it's subject to change, but this does look like it's got something to do with Fantastic Four, because Super Skrull can copy one's abilities. So, and it looks like he's doing that here in part with, Thing and Torch and Mr. Fantastic. It says the character model is not final but we can show you the sweet concept art. I kind of like it. Here's essential info to start preparing for the future challenge. And then it looks like they said no particular order. City, Global, Cosmic, Legendary, and then Non-Horseman, Legendary, and then Legendary and or Apocalypse. So they're splitting it up into 5 different legs, and then no surprises here. Gear tier 18, which I think most of us were predicting, and then ISO 8 requirements will be none. Now, gear tier 18, we're going to talk about this. It's time to power up your roster and explode to the next level with the exciting upcoming gear 18. If you're finding existing content to be more challenging than anticipated, the power of gear tier 18 will help you bust through those roadblocks. Now, not all gear tier levels are created the same. There was very minimal gains in stats, like from 0 to 13. And then when 14 came out, it was a huge boost. 14 was huge, like 20-something% across all the stats. Some of the stats were as high as 50%. And I'm wondering if they're considering doing something similar to that. Like the jump between 13 and 14 was pretty drastic. And if gear tier 18 is also going to be drastic like that, we'll have to see. Not really sure what they mean by that paragraph, but it's something to keep on the lookout. This will be your master key in unlocking access through the epic Dark Dimension 6 and unlocking Super Skrull. Get ready, because your first opportunity to start collecting pieces and crafting this powerful new gear is expecting to arrive sometime in the month of May. One of the primary methods of acquiring the mighty gear tier 18 will be an exciting adventure through the incursion raid. So we had a post about this already. And then they talk about the incursions is when the multiverses collide, right? Is when they're incursions, right? Before we get into details of incursion raid, we checked the recent blog post. They talk about the showcase events and the epic events for Invaders Incursion. The main thing is that, which I'm going to read here, is that these events will feature characters of team traits that will be designed to use in the incursion raid. So this is going to be like the Doom raids. The mission nodes will allow you to bring in your choice of characters, their respective origin traits. However, the challenge you will encounter in the incursion raid will be crafted with the new characters in mind and will be best suited for this battle. So this is not really anything new than the Doom raids. They're just actually saying it that basically, like when you go through the Doom raids, you have to use the teams that work optimally. You don't have a lot of choices, and they're going to be intentionally designing that way. So it's something we always suspected, that raid bonuses were kind of like a sham a little bit, because they designed the villains and the nodes around the raid bonuses of the team. and they're just actually stating it, which is what we kind of knew. Making progress in the incursion rate is extremely important, as it'll be the primary method of earning gear tier 18 pieces, which you're going to need to get into Dark Dimension 6. And then they state that the 2 teams that are going to be vital in getting this started is going to be Rebirth and Vader teams. Will be extremely powerful and are critical to your success in the incursion raid. So this first leg of the path to getting to gear tier 18 will be using the Rebirth and the Invader teams and the new incursion raids. All right, this here is significantly positive changes that I'm very excited about it, with one caveat. I'm a little bit worried about the room bonuses in Cosmic Crucible, what they did with room 5, and changing the room bonuses around so that giving Eternals, that was kind of weird, right? With the Eternals, with the Spider Weaver, and now Masters of Evil can't beat them, and then you got to get the new team. I wonder if they're heading that direction with Alliance War as well. I may not care, because they're going towards an efficiency model, which I think is going to be an amazing. And actually, I'm actually, after reading this, I'm wondering if there will be a need for having 4 zones, if they can consolidate everybody into one zone, because it looks like they're going towards an efficiency model, which is what we've been asking for ever since this came out. Get ready to accelerate your teal gear progress into high gear and prepare for the forthcoming gear tier 18. Coming first around the end of April will be highly requested teal war orb containing items, including coveted teal gear 16 mini uniques. This is a big deal, and I think we've been looking for this for a long time. The war orbs, and I did not think that they were going to have the mini uniques in there, and so I think this is great. And additionally, there'll be more slots for the T uniques and the war supplies level 80. So another war reward update will add more gold and a lot more blue ISO. And it looks like the level 4s and the level 5s, which these are super scarce, significantly help players unlock and upgrade the Mighty Apocalypse. Now let's get into the changes, or the temporary changes, that they're going to be interesting in war, which I was talking about before. But the war orbs is great. From the darkest reach of space, Nowhere team is coming to the rescue of the strike, and they're bringing the worst and of the cosmos along with them. The Nowhere Siege will offer a different perspective in war gameplay. Limited run event with temporary configuration where we can test and optimize different rules and mechanics. Player feedback provided this event will significantly help guide any future events. And I hope that they keep some of this stuff permanent. But the first new limited time spin of Linesborn is recreated with an upcoming Nowhere characters in mind, updated room rolls, strategy changes, new mechanics, and I suspect that this might be like the room bonuses in Cosmic Crucible, which I think there's some problems with that, right? Nowhere characters will get bonuses on offense. Cosmic Developers replace military and existing room bonuses, and then Black Order and Thanos will be receiving buffs on defense. And maybe Black Order and Thanos will have, heroes for higher level buffs that only work in a certain room, and it'll be temporary, and the only way to beat them will be with the Nowhere characters. And so this kind of forces people that care about war to buy the Nowhere characters to beat this problem that they created. I don't know if that's what it's going to be, but that's what they've done in Cosmic Crucible, and they may be doing that to war. Now this right here, I hope they make permanent, and it is very exciting if you care about war. I suppose there's a lot of people that don't care about war, but I like war. Defeating the opponent's armory and hangar will no longer affect the stats of the opponent attacking characters. Instead, defeating the opponent's army and hangar will affect the stats of your attacking characters. This should reduce the necessity to attack at specific times of day, and then they move on. Players will receive all 10 energy at the start of war and no longer accumulate energy over time. Players can still purchase an additional 4 war energy for each war. And basically, they've moved it towards an efficiency system, which is going to be more similar to that of Cosmic Crucible. A new attempt bonus will reward points for clearing a room with fewest attempts possible. Canceled comments will not decrease the attempt bonus, but will still consume the spent war energy. This is a secondary win condition. to clearing the most room. So I'm just going to assume that. So this is going to remain the same. You know, the more that you clear, you know, the better for you. Now we are in a situation where we have full clears and it's a race and it requires being on a certain time. And but now you're going to get points based on who has the least number of attacks or the least number of dropped attacks. And I don't see a tiebreaker situation really ever happening. You know, we dropped 42 attacks. They dropped 49. We win the war, right? It will be a race and as a tiebreaker, but I don't see that happening. I also imagine that this is going to move war to more offense than less defense. We'll have to see. Exhausted. So this is going to prevent teams from being unbeatable. Exhausted. Each time a defensive squad is attacked and isn't fully defeated, a stack of this new debuff will be applied to them, making them weaker in some way. Exhausted is only applied if the attack attempt is finished, not when combat is canceled. More details on Exhausted will be announced closer to the release update. So, I mean, what if you know, like they make Black Order and Thanos nearly invincible on defense and war with some crazy Heroes for Hire buffs? I don't know. And then, you know, the first attack is terrible, but then they become exhausted, and then the next attack, and eventually you will get through them. It looks like they're setting us up for that, to make some sort of impenetrable defense, and then without the new characters, and then the only way you'll be able to get through them, which will determine who wins, is the number of attacks that it takes. But after the first attack, the second attack, and third attack, they'll become exhausted. So I think this is great. It's an efficiency system. It should you know, give me more flexibility reworld, not having to be on at certain times. And I'm hoping that this will also eliminate the need to have 4 war zones if my interpretation of this system is correct. So I'm pretty excited about this. Like I said earlier, if you don't care about war, I don't know if you'll care anymore. But people that care about war, I think this is a pretty significant change, as long as they don't use these room bonuses, you know, temporary room bonuses to fuel sales, which it does look like that, but we'll have to see. New Cosmic Crucible tournament. So this is going to be between seasons, and it's going to be special. Basically, they're going to have like a 32-man tournament, and it is going to be 5 days instead of 3 days. And it looks like it'll just be like a very not infrequent, but it'd be for only 1 week before season 3 begins. So maybe before seasons, and I'm not really sure if they're going to release the room bonuses before that. And so everybody's going to be guessing on how the room bonuses work, but they look like they also suggest that the rewards are going to be significant. Now, lastly, we're going to finish up the video with the quality of life improvements. And so they are going to focus on these things. The first one is that you can upgrade multiple gears at level. So you can take your characters all the way up to like a gear tier 12 with one button. This would be significant for alliance leaders. I know a lot of people have asked for this. Raid auto launcher. You won't have to worry about being online at reset time anymore. It'll launch your raids for you automatically. I know alliance leaders have been asking you this for a long time. And they're also, when the raid keys get put to the inbox, instead they're going to go directly to the alliance, so I won't have to be online to collect my raid keys. More game modes that'll be simmable. And then right here, autocomplete function for additional repeating events to save valuable finger tapping strength for other modes. And I wonder if this is like Nowhere Heist, where, you know, you have to hit it 7 times. Maybe that's what it's for. I'm not really sure what that means. A lot of people thought it might mean blitz, like a sim blitz, but I don't think it means that. Inbox improvements, and there are going to be 3 improvements to inbox. The third one is the most important. The inbox will be separated in 2 tabs, one for messages and another for rewards. Provide clear separation between the message types. Second, the read and unread tabs will be merged in one tab with an option to show read messages for improved flow. And then most importantly, when tapping the Claim All button, a pop-up message will ask you to confirm the action before actually claiming all of the items to help mitigate accidental claimed items. I think that's fantastic, right? it feels like they kind of embraced hoarding at this point. I mean, maybe 3 years ago or something like that, internally they had conversations where they did not like hoarding, but now they may have changed stances on that. It seems like they are like, we're in a full-blown hoard meta, and they have embraced it. I don't know any other way of understanding what they're doing over there. It feels like other developers do not like hoarding, so it's interesting to me. Improvements to avatar and frame selection, change your player profile, and express your fandom. Clear communication and minimum requirements necessary to qualify for leaderboards and milestones. And then Mojo's Mayhem revamp. Right now, you get credit for those things by blitzing and or real-time arena, and they're going to add War and Cosmic Crucible, so of how you can get points. I think that's fantastic, and they're going to change around the store. Now, WebSort, the website, Squad Sync. Want a quick and easy to share your save squads with friends? This is huge. Coming soon, you'll be able to import your save squads and then generate a code that you can share with your buddies so they can import your squad settings. This will be especially helpful for alliances looking to unify war offense and defense teams across all members' rosters. Or if you've discovered the ultimate blitz save squad rotation, you can share your code with the community and watch the kudos rolling in. And then lastly, recruiting tools, which I think that recruiting is probably one of the most challenging things to do in the game, especially if you're an alliance leader. I see complaints about it all the time. So we'll have to see what that is. And then they're going to add more API support for more analytics and T4 confidence and things like that, which is probably my favorite part of the website. Finally, they wrap up the blog post by saying that they're planning a brand new game mode. I have no idea what that is, but it's pretty exciting. What do you think about this blog post? Are you pretty excited about it? I really think it was pretty good. The only thing that I'm concerned about, and it's a minor thing, I suppose, is that they are going to treat Alliance War maybe with the same temporary room bonuses like they have in Cosmic Crucible. I know a lot of people were not happy with what they did in Room 5, and I hope they don't go that route for Alliance War. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And as always, thanks for watching. Keep on gaming. Bye for now.